When we reach the age of 50, something quiet but powerful begins happening inside the body, and most people don't notice it until the signs become possible to ignore. The waistline starts to thicken, the energy feels a little lower, and stubborn belly fat shows up even when nothing major has changed in diet or lifestyle. Many women assume it's simply age or hormones. Many men think it's just a slower metabolism or long work hours. But the truth is, belly fat after 50 isn't just a cosmetic concern. It's a silent risk, one that affects your heart, your blood sugar, your liver, and your long-term vitality in ways most people never see coming. I want you to picture the belly as a message board. When fat gathers around the abdomen, especially deep underneath the muscles, the body is sounding an alarm. It's telling you that the internal chemistry is shifting. The processes that once kept inflammation low and energy high are now working much harder. For men, the change is often tied to increasing stress hormones, long periods of sitting, and inconsistent eating patterns that raise insulin again and again. For women, the shift in hormones can slow how efficiently the body uses fuel, making the belly the first place excess energy gets stored. But the root cause behind both is the same. The body is protecting itself from what it perceives as constant pressure. One of the greatest challenges men face after 50 is timing. They often eat late because of work, skip meals because of routines, or go long hours without nourishment, which pushes the body into storing mode. When you combine irregular eating with processed foods, sugary drinks, or a lack of movement, the body begins packing fat around the waist as a protective layer. But this fat, called visceral fat, doesn't stay quiet. It behaves like an organ of its own, releasing chemicals that increase inflammation, disturb sleep, and affect the way your body responds to insulin. That's why many men notice rising blood pressure, digestive discomfort, and a constant feeling of heaviness even when the scale doesn't move much. Women experience something similar, though they often describe it as feeling swollen around the midsection or noticing that clothes no longer fit the same. The challenge here is that many women over 50 reduce their food intake drastically, believing it will shrink the waistline. But when meals become too small or too far apart, the body slows its burning power even more, making belly fat harder to lose. The key is not to starve, but to align your lifestyle with the natural rhythm your body understands. Think of your daily routine as a partnership with your metabolism. Your body responds beautifully when meals are timed earlier in the day, when the evening hours are lighter, and when movement is consistent rather than intense and sporadic. Even something as simple as walking after meals, drinking enough water, and allowing the body to rest properly can transform how fat is stored. Belly fat after 50 isn't just about appearance. It's a sign that your body is asking for balance. Balance in food timing, balance in stress, and balance in movement. And when you learn how to support that balance, you begin reversing the very risks that this silent fat can create. As we look a little deeper into what happens inside the body after 50, it becomes clear that belly fat isn't forming by accident. The body is incredibly wise. It stores fat in the midsection because that area is close to vital organs. When your system feels overwhelmed, whether by high sugars, irregular meals, lack of sleep, or chronic stress, it begins to place fat where it can act as a buffer. But this protective response slowly turns into a risk when inflammation becomes constant. And most people don't realize that the smallest lifestyle patterns are often the biggest contributors. Insulin plays a major role here. Every time we eat, insulin rises to move nutrients into the cells. That's normal. But when we graze all day, snack late at night, or rely on sweetened drinks for energy, insulin doesn't get a break. Over time, the body becomes less responsive to it. That's when belly fat begins to grow faster than any other area. Many men over 50 notice it first, because they often eat their largest meal in the evening after a long day. Women may experience it when stress peaks or when their sleep becomes lighter and less restorative. The body begins holding on to fat because it feels like it must. There's another factor many overlook: movement. After 50, muscle naturally begins to decline, not because the body is weak, but because it adapts to the level of activity it is given. When muscle lowers, the metabolism also slows. That means even foods that once caused no trouble can now contribute to fat gain. The good news is that rebuilding strength doesn't require heavy lifting or intense sessions at the gym. Slow, steady movements, walking, light strength work, breathing exercises, gentle morning stretches send powerful signals to the body that energy is needed again. Stress adds another layer to the picture. When you are constantly on alert or mentally burdened, your adrenal glands produce more cortisol, a hormone that encourages fat storage around the midsection. It's the body's way of preparing for what it perceives as a threat. Even if the stress is emotional or work-related, the body responds physically. This is why people who live under long-term stress often feel fatigued, crave sugary foods, or find it difficult to lose weight no matter what diet they try. One of the most effective changes you can make is adjusting your daily timing. Eating earlier in the day allows the body to burn fuel more efficiently. When your last meal is lighter and finished at least 3 hours before sleep, insulin has time to settle and the body can repair instead of store. Combine this with simple routines, like drinking warm water in the morning, stepping into sunlight early in the day, and taking a small walk after meals, and you create a rhythm your body can finally trust. The reason belly fat becomes dangerous after 50 is because it quietly affects the entire system. But the encouraging truth is that small changes, done consistently, can reverse years of build-up. The body always responds to care. When we talk about belly fat becoming dangerous after 50, we're really talking about what happens underneath the surface, inside the liver, inside the arteries, and inside the delicate balance that keeps your body functioning smoothly. One of the most silent changes that belly fat triggers is inflammation. Not the kind you feel on the outside, like swelling or pain, but the quiet inflammation that moves through the bloodstream, affecting how cells communicate. This kind of inflammation makes the heart work harder, slows digestion, and interferes with how the liver processes toxins. Many people only realize something is wrong when fatigue becomes normal, or when everyday tasks feel heavier than they once did. Visceral fat, the deep fat stored around the organs, releases chemicals that confuse the body's normal signals. They can raise blood pressure, change cholesterol patterns, and make the liver accumulate more fat. It often begins slowly, with symptoms so mild that they're easy to ignore. A little bloating after meals, a heavier feeling in the midsection, difficulty completing a walk that used to be easy. These are early signs. For some women, the waistline feels firmer even if the overall body weight hasn't changed much. For men, the stomach begins to push outward in a way that feels different from simple weight gain. All of this points toward a deeper metabolic shift. But the encouraging part is that the body also responds quickly when you give it the right support. One of the first steps is stabilizing your blood sugar. This doesn't mean harsh dieting or eliminating everything you enjoy. It simply means setting a pattern your body can rely on: a balanced morning meal, a steady midday meal, and a lighter evening meal give insulin the rhythm it needs. When insulin calms down, the body finally stops storing and begins burning. Even drinking water at regular intervals, instead of only when you feel thirsty, helps reduce the burden on the liver and kidneys. Another powerful step is focusing on quality of movement instead of quantity. You don't need long workouts to reverse the effects of belly fat. You need consistency. 10 minutes of walking after meals improves circulation and helps the body clear out glucose. Gentle stretching in the morning wakes up the muscles and lowers stiffness, especially around the back and hips, which often tighten as belly fat increases. Strengthening your core doesn't just shape the waistline, it supports the spine, improves digestion, and reduces the pressure on your heart. Breathing also plays a vital role. When you breathe deeply, especially through the belly, you stimulate the vagus nerve. This lowers stress signals and helps the body release cortisol. Stress reduction alone can soften the midsection over time because it removes one of the strongest triggers for visceral fat storage. Even a few minutes of quiet breathing during the day can create noticeable changes within a few weeks. Most importantly, understand that your body is not working against you. It's trying to protect you. Belly fat after 50 is the body's attempt to adapt to modern habits, late meals, constant stress, long sitting hours, but you can guide it back toward balance. When you support your body gently and consistently, it begins to heal in ways you can feel from the inside out. As the body crosses 50, one of the most powerful tools you can use to control belly fat and reduce its silent risks is understanding timing. The body follows natural rhythms. It prefers to work, digest, and repair at certain hours, but modern life often pushes those rhythms aside. Late night meals, long sitting periods, and irregular sleep patterns confuse the system. Over time, this confusion shows up most clearly around the waist. By restoring the body's rhythm, you give it the chance to release the fat it has been holding as protection. The day should ideally begin with light nourishment and gentle movement. When sunlight enters the eyes early in the day, it sets the internal clock. Your metabolism wakes up, your digestion becomes more efficient, and your energy becomes more stable. Something as simple as stepping outside for a few minutes after waking can help regulate hormones that control appetite and fat storage. Many people underestimate this simple practice, yet it has a profound effect on reducing midsection weight over time. Midday remains the body's strongest digestive window. This is when your largest and most balanced meal should be. When the body receives most of its fuel during the hours it can process food efficiently, belly fat naturally reduces. On the other hand, eating heavily in the evening places strain on the liver and forces insulin to work overtime. Instead of burning, the body stores. This is why shifting your main meal earlier, even by just a couple of hours, can make a noticeable difference in how your belly feels within days. Sleep is another essential piece of the puzzle. When you sleep deeply, your body repairs tissues, balances hormones, and reduces inflammation. But when sleep is disrupted or too short, cortisol rises. Cortisol encourages fat storage around the waist. It becomes a cycle. Belly fat increases because of poor sleep, and poor sleep increases because of belly fat pressing on organs and restricting deep breathing. Breaking this cycle starts with simple habits: finishing the last meal earlier, limiting screen exposure before bed, and breathing slowly to activate the calming nerves. Hydration also plays a quiet but significant role. When the body is dehydrated, the liver struggles to process fats effectively. The body begins storing more fat because it cannot break it down efficiently. Drinking water throughout the day, especially before meals, improves digestion and supports the liver. Warm water in the morning can stimulate gentle cleansing and reduce bloating that often accompanies belly fat. For both men and women, reducing long sitting hours is crucial. The belly is one of the first areas to suffer when circulation slows. Sitting for long periods weakens core muscles and reduces blood flow to the digestive organs. Standing more often, stretching every hour, and taking short walks create enough movement to signal the body that it should burn instead of store. These small changes can shift your metabolism without any intense exercise. The goal is not harsh dieting or exhausting routines. The goal is balance. Your body has a remarkable ability to restore itself when given the right environment. Steady timing, gentle movement, deep sleep, and peaceful breathing. As these habits become part of your daily rhythm, the belly begins to soften, inflammation decreases, and the silent risks hidden beneath that fat start to fade. When people finally begin to understand that belly fat after 50 is not just about appearance, but about inner balance, the entire approach to health changes. Instead of chasing diets, rushing into intense exercise, or feeling discouraged by slow progress, they start working with the body, not against it. And this is where true healing begins. The body responds beautifully to consistency, patience, and gentle discipline. Even small shifts, when repeated daily, create a powerful ripple effect that reaches every organ. One of the most meaningful changes you can make is choosing foods that nourish instead of burden. Fresh vegetables, simple proteins, healthy fats from natural sources, and whole grains support stable energy and reduce inflammation. These foods give your cells the raw materials they need to repair. When the liver receives clean fuel, it becomes lighter, stronger, and more efficient in breaking down stored fat. Over time, this brings down the silent risks linked with belly fat, risks to the heart, to blood pressure, to blood sugar, and to overall longevity. Another important step is understanding the emotional side of health after 50. Many people experience life pressures that build quietly over the years. Responsibilities increase, stress becomes familiar, and rest becomes something we postpone. This emotional load affects the physical body, especially the midsection. The belly is often the first place where the effects of long-term stress appear. By giving yourself even a few minutes of daily calm, deep breathing, prayer, quiet reflection, or simply sitting in silence, you help your body shift from survival mode into healing mode. This single change can influence the way your body stores or releases fat more than most people realize. There is also tremendous value in learning to read your body's signals. If you feel heaviness after meals, it might mean the timing or portion needs adjusting. If your belly feels tight or bloated, your digestion may need support through slower eating or more water. If your energy dips sharply in the afternoon, your meal balance may need improvement. These are not signs of weakness. They are signs that your body is communicating. Listening and adjusting is one of the greatest gifts you can offer yourself. Movement, too, should feel enjoyable. You don't need to force long workouts to see results. The most effective routines after 50 are those that bring ease rather than exhaustion. Walks that help you breathe deeper. Stretches that release the hips and lower back, gentle strengthening that supports posture. When movement becomes a natural part of your day, your belly begins to shift. Fat becomes less necessary as a protective layer because the body feels active, safe, and supported. As you bring all these elements together, balanced meals, steady timing, gentle movement, deep sleep, emotional calm, the silent risks that come with belly fat begin to dissolve. The heart works more easily, the liver becomes clearer, digestion becomes smoother, and your energy becomes more stable. Your belly responds by softening, not because you forced it, but because your body no longer feels the need to hold tightly to that stored fat. Remember, the body is always on your side. Even after 50, even after years of struggle, it knows exactly how to heal when given the right environment. When you treat your body with patience, nourishment, and rhythm, it rewards you with clarity, strength, and a lighter, healthier waistline, inside and out.